Calaroga Shark Media.
From Washington, D.C., where there is no list, we never said there was a list. This is ballot.
That's right, and good news from the TSA for a change. Let's hit this. So the Justice Department just released a memo saying there's no Jeffrey Epstein client list in their files, which is probably the most disappointing news conspiracy theorists have heard since they found out the moon landing was real. Attorney General Pam Bondi had previously suggested on Fox News that she had this mysterious client list on her desk ready to expose powerful people. But now the DOJ is saying, sorry, no list exists. Which is either the truth or the most elaborate game of the dog ate my homework in government history. The memo also confirmed that Epstein killed himself in prison back in 2019, which investigators concluded years ago. But telling conspiracy theorists that Epstein actually committed suicide is like telling kids that Santa isn't real. They're just not ready to hear it. Right-wing media personalities who spent years promoting these theories are now calling Bondi a liar on social media. Nothing says we trust our own people like immediately turning on them the second they don't deliver the scandal you ordered. The White House is now defending Bondi, saying she wasn't talking about a client list, but rather the entire investigatory file. So basically, they're saying she had papers on her desk about Epstein, which is probably true. Most attorney generals probably have papers on their desks. Revolutionary stuff. Meanwhile, FBI Director Kash Patel and his deputy Dan Bongino, who both gained fame questioning the official Epstein story, are now saying investigators got it right all along. That's got to be awkward, spending years building your brand on conspiracy theories, then having to run the agency that debunks them. The memo criticizes people for perpetuating unfounded theories about Epstein, which is government speak for please stop making our jobs harder with your YouTube research. They pointed out that spreading conspiracy theories doesn't help combat child exploitation or bring justice to victims, which is a fair point that probably won't stop anyone. Elon Musk even got involved last month, posting that the files weren't released because Trump was on the list, then walking it back. So now we've got billionaires casually accusing presidents of crimes on social media, then going, never mind, like it's a deleted tweet about pineapple on pizza. The whole thing shows how conspiracy theories work in politics now. You promise the smoking gun, get everyone excited, then when reality doesn't match the hype, you just blame someone else for lying. It's like ordering a mystery box online and getting angry when it doesn't contain Jimmy Hoffa. So Ted Cruz was vacationing in Greece when devastating floods hit Texas, killing over 100 people, and his office says he came back as fast as humanly possible, which is apparently politicians speak for he finished his gyros first. Cruz's office released a statement explaining that the senator was already in the middle of a pre-planned family vacation when the flooding occurred on July 4th. Within hours, he was making phone calls to Governor Greg Abbott, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, and President Trump to coordinate federal assistance. So he was working the phones from what I can only assume was a very scenic Greek beach. A tourist spotted Cruz in Athens around 6 p.m. Greek time on Sunday, which was 10 a.m. in Kerrville, Texas, where people were dealing with the aftermath of deadly flooding. The tourist Michael Rocchio snapped a photo and told the Houston Chronicle, I get it, he's on vacation, but after what happened, vacation or not, you should have been back on a plane on his way back to Texas. Cruz's office insists he left Athens Sunday morning and was back in Texas that night, then on the ground in Kerrville early Monday morning. So technically, he did return quickly, just not before someone got a photo of him apparently enjoying Greek hospitality while his constituents were dealing with a natural disaster. This is the same Ted Cruz who famously flew to Cancun during the 2021 winter storm that left millions of Texans without power or water. He later called that trip obviously a mistake, which suggests he learned his lesson about vacation timing. Well, sort of learned his lesson. The difference this time is that Cruz's office is emphasizing all the phone calls he made while abroad, which is the political equivalent of saying, I was working from home when you were actually working from a Mediterranean resort. Sure, you can coordinate disaster response from anywhere with cell service, but optics matter in politics. Cruz defended the Cancun trip by saying his daughters wanted to go, which was widely mocked. This time, his office is going with the pre-planned family vacation angle, which sounds more official but still raises the question of whether maybe family vacation plans should be flexible when your state is underwater. The tourist who photographed Cruz said he's not even a Texan and is openly critical of Cruz's politics, but still thought the senator should have been heading home. When your vacation photos are being taken by random critics who think you should be doing your job, that's probably not a great sign. At least this time, Cruz didn't blame his kids for the trip. Progress, I guess.
What if everything you've been taught about happiness is wrong? We chase careers, approval, more stuff, hoping it'll finally make us feel fulfilled, but it never sticks. What if happiness isn't out there, but already inside you, just waiting to be unlocked? Discover the book, The Happiness Experiment. Every person has a unique happiness type, and when you understand yours, everything shifts. You'll stop chasing and start creating joy on your own terms. Discover your happiness type with a free happiness type assessment. Go to myhappinesstype.com. That's myhappinesstype.com. It takes just a minute and it might change your life. Then grab your copy of The Happiness Experiment at Books A Million. This isn't just a book, it's a practical framework, a journey inward. It's a tool to help you reconnect with the happiness that's been waiting inside you all along. Pick up The Happiness Experiment and start your happiness experiment today.
And good news for Ted Cruz. So the TSA has quietly started letting travelers keep their shoes on at airport security, ending one of the most universally despised rules in air travel. After nearly 20 years of forcing millions of people to shuffle through checkpoints in their socks, someone apparently realized that maybe this wasn't the best system. The shoe removal requirement started in 2006, almost 5 years after the so-called shoe bomber tried to detonate explosives in his footwear on a flight from Paris to Miami. So for 2 decades, every air traveler has been paying the price for one guy's failed attempt at terrorism, taking off their shoes and hoping the airport floor isn't too gross. The TSA hasn't officially announced this change, which is typical government behavior, quietly implementing a policy shift without fanfare, probably hoping no one notices until it's fully rolled out. A TSA spokesman gave the classic non-answer. TSA and DHS are always exploring new and innovative ways to enhance the passenger experience, which is bureaucrat speak for, we're doing something, but we're not ready to admit it yet. The change was first reported by a travel newsletter written by a former TSA officer who said he'd seen the soft launch at airports and received an internal memo about it. He pointed out that technology has advanced enough that officers can now detect threats while passengers are wearing shoes, which raises the obvious question. If the technology has been capable of this for a while, why did it take 20 years to implement? This is potentially devastating news for TSA PreCheck, the $80 program that lets you keep your shoes on as one of its main selling points. The former TSA officer said he believes a huge shift is coming to PreCheck because letting regular travelers keep their shoes on will significantly diminish the value of the program. So people who paid for the privilege of keeping their shoes on might now be wondering what exactly they're paying for. It would be like paying extra for Wi-Fi on a plane and then finding out everyone gets it for free. The whole thing highlights how arbitrary some security theater can be. For 20 years, we've been told that removing shoes is essential for safety, and now suddenly it's not necessary anymore. Either the threat was overblown to begin with, or technology caught up and nobody bothered to update the policy until now. This could be the first domino in a series of TSA policy changes that make air travel slightly less miserable. Next thing you know, they might let us keep our laptops in our bags or bring full-size shampoo bottles. Although knowing the government, they'll probably find some new inconvenience to replace the shoe thing just to keep us on our toes. Or should I say keep us on our shoes? Portions of today's show were made with the help of AI. Now stick around for this interview, and I'll see you tomorrow.
I'm so excited to talk to you, Carl. Talk to me, a guy who's had this illustrious business career. What made you decide to write a book on happiness? You could have gone in some of the other directions.
Well, actually, I didn't, Donnie. I didn't decide to write a book. Something happened. This happiness experiment happened in real life, in real terms. I had no idea about writing a book, but I saw it working. The experiment was working. My friends and family were getting happier. They're increasing their happiness. And I saw it, so I thought, I need to write about this. And so that's when I got into writing the book.
And talk to me about PreQuesting. Talk to me what it's about and how it's the foundation of things.
Well, it came about through three major things that happened in my life. One, I almost died in a plane crash. If you read the book, you'll find out whether I survived or not. Okay. The other thing that happened was I got a call from my sister in England. She told me her husband was dying. He had 6 months to live. So I flew to England, and she was in my will. And I said, Janet, you're in my will as a bequest, but that's something you need right now. So I'm going to make it a prequest. I'm going to bring that bequest forward and pay it to you now while you can enjoy it and your husband can fulfill his last wishes. She was overjoyed, burst into tears, of course, and said, oh, this is great. My brother was there at the same time. I said, Barry, since I've done this for my sister, I'm going to bring your bequest forward and make it a prequest. And he said, oh, that's fabulous. Thank you very much. You're very generous. His wife went ballistic. She said, this is too much money. It's wrong. I don't want anything to do with it, and stormed out of the room. So that was a real surprise. Anyhow, she got over it. And the next thing that happened is I looked in my investments. I got a lot of money sitting in investments, not doing anything. It wasn't working for me, wasn't working for my friends. So I said, why don't I use this money for my own success and happiness, and also for my friends, the people that helped me get to be wealthy and successful. That's what I did.
So it's not a one-time thing. This is kind of a lifetime experiment, if you will.
Yeah, it turned out that way because I didn't want to just give people money and say, be happy. I said, I want this to enrich your life, be something special. So I'd like you to think about it, plan something, write a happiness plan. They asked, what's a happiness plan? I said, when I get that, I'll give you all the money, and let's see how it works out.
So you talk about coaching and grants to reshape and change lives, which is timely given what's going on in the world today.
Yeah, and the thing is that it wasn't just about the money, Donnie. The money's important. We love money. It's good to have it. But what really worked with these people was the planning with a happiness coach. They thought about carefully what they wanted to do that's going to enrich their life, make them happier, what things they love, things that they were fascinated with. And they wrote all that down with a happiness coach. They had a plan. And as soon as I got the plan, I said, here's the money, all of it. It's all yours. You don't owe me anything, no strings attached. And they went off and started becoming happier. It's
incredible. So the inspiration for this was just your near-death experience?
Well, that was part of it. But it was a number of things that happened. First off, I was very very grateful for the people that have helped me to become successful. And being grateful is terrific. Okay. We love that. Yeah. We talk about gratitude and gratitude journaling, all those sort of things. But the real thing is expressing the gratitude, telling somebody how much you care about them, appreciating what they did for you, writing a letter. It doesn't have to be about money. It can be possessions. It can be money. It can be attention, it can be time, it can be knowledge, your wisdom that you share with younger people. But it's what you're doing while you're still alive that counts. When you're dead, it's over.
It's such a simple but brilliant point. And how do you think? Let's say play this out that people kind of really buy into this intentional happiness and prequesting. How does the world become a better place? Let's take this up 10,000 feet.
Well, it would be great. The reason I wrote the book is I want this idea to get into the world, so that certainly the wealthy people, they can do the prequesting, make themselves and their friends and family happier right now while they're still alive. The other thing, I want the book to show how these people planned, thought about their happiness, created a happiness plan, and then worked it and to become happier. And others can learn from their experiences, reading their plans and then doing the same thing. And in the back of my book, there's a workbook which goes through that step by step and a plan to increase your happiness.
How do we get this into the workplace, into schools, and kind of really, to your point, get this in there?
That would be lovely. If it went into the schools, and I think in high schools, this would be a really good subject to put on the curriculum. What is happiness? How do you achieve happiness? What's it all about?
What is happiness?
It's a great question. You have to read my book. But in short, emotion, we all know what happiness is. It's feeling good. It's joyful. It's exhilaration. It's loving life. So it is a feeling, but it's also a mindset. You have to think that I deserve happiness. Yeah. I want to be happy. I'm taking my happiness seriously. So it's heart and mind, not just one or the other. So it's that combination. But really, I give a whole chapter in the book on what is happiness. And it's a great chapter. You'll love the book.
Now, a lot of people, I cannot wait to read it. I'm so excited. I'm like just turned on listening to you. A lot of people equate happiness to financial success and things. And what am I going to learn in the book about that?
Well, money is important. Okay, let's get that off the table. Listen, but it's not going to buy you happiness. The good use of money is really important, how you do it. But it's the mindset, it's the pursuit of happiness that counts. Taking your happiness seriously, wanting what you want, and what you want is important. Your dreams, your purposes in life, what you want to achieve in your career, what you want to with your family, what you want to achieve, the purposes all around, what you value. Are you pursuing those values? Are you living those values? This is what it's all about. Money helps, but it's all those other spiritual things, if you like, psychological things that are really the root of happiness. And as we all know, some people are very rich and they're very unhappy. And there's
a lot of people
that are really happy.
I would say money can solve problems, but it can't buy you happiness. But you certainly can throw it at problems. But that's about the extent of it. So let's play this out. How does right now the world could use this more than ever? So let's say if I just did this fantasy and said, okay, everybody's gonna do this PreQuest, everybody's gonna do the happiness planning. How does the world look different?
Well, as you know, Donnie, when you're happy, your family tends to be happy. Your friends are happier. And happiness ripples, it spreads. And if this idea gets into the world, which I'm working very hard to do, get it into the world, talking to you, because you're going to buy lots of these books and you're going to tell all your friends about it, right?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
If this goes, it spreads, it ripples. It doesn't stay just with you. It goes down to your family, to your friends, and to your community. And if a lot of wealthy people did this, and it's not just about wealth, it's possessions, it's time, it's love, it's wisdom that we can share with others while we're still alive, here and now. And if that gets into the world, and there's a lot of people start doing this, then the happiness level in the world will increase little by little, and I'd be very happy about that.
Mr. Barney, it's been inspirational talking to you. I am going to get this book immediately. I could recommend it just based on what we've talked about to anybody, because we all could use a little happiness. I appreciate you taking the time.
Happy to be here. Thanks, Donnie.
You can call me James. I spent 23 years designing aircraft that officially don't exist for agencies you think TV made up. Until I started asking the wrong questions. Navy ships are recording objects moving at impossible speeds. Infrastructure is failing in coordinated patterns. The moon looks smaller than it did 10 years ago. None of this is a coincidence. The official explanations don't add up. This is Paranormal Aliens, where we connect the dots they don't want connected. If you're hearing this, you know where to get podcasts. Follow Paranormal Aliens. New episodes weekly until they shut me down.
Hey, my name is John Podhoretz. I'm the host of the Commentary Magazine Daily Podcast. We try every day to give you a sense of where America is, where the world is, where Donald Trump is, where the Democrats are, where the Republicans are, where American society is and where it's headed. Lively, significant, important topics of discussion. Please subscribe, Apple, Spotify, wherever you find podcasts, the Commentary Magazine Daily Podcast.